go live. And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. Rich, how you doing? Say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody, and also welcome to the folks watching us on the YouTube as well.
Rich, how's your week been?
Not too bad. Starting to maybe come down with a little seasonal flu, a little bit of a scratchy throat, and a runny nose. So
You gonna get tested for the Rono?
I'm gonna wait and see on that.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's just a cold or flu 'cause it's that time of year, so I'll be starting to take shots of NyQuil and DayQuil.
Yeah.
See if that'll clear it up. How are things down up in Esterville?
It's cold.
It's cold.
It was in the 20s this morning. It's gonna be like 24 degrees tomorrow morning when we wake up.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's gonna be a little chilly. If you guys come up in a couple weeks, you better be ready for some cold.
Yeah. Yep. We'll have to we'll have to get the winter jackets.
You might
out of the closet.
You might want some winter jackets. No, but besides that, had a good breakfast for the community breakfast that Grandview Baptist put on today, which was delicious. Pancakes.
Yeah, what was that?
Okay. Pancakes, eggs, and sausage.
Nice.
Yeah, free breakfast. Got to hang out at the school because that's where they hosted it. So
cool. So, Mike, what's on the docket today for the folks?
Well, what do we have on the docket? Let me bring that up real quick. We are going to talk about the NFL, obviously. I mean, we're in prime NFL season. We have some Major League Baseball news to talk about. What else we got, Rich?
We'll be going into the NASCAR corner, presented as always by Sports Cards Incorporated.
Triple I.
And we're going to give you our NBA Finals matchup and winner. So stay tuned for that. All that and more right after we roll that intro.
Let me see what I added.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.
And we're back. Wow. So, first things first, as always, Rich, we have a poll question. Let the people know what's going on. How'd that poll question go? And let's also give them how we voted.
All right, Mike. So I'll let you bring that up. I'll let you bring the poll up real quick. But this week's poll for a tailgate showdown was a nice salad or a sub sandwich. There's always that healthy person at a tailgate that needs a salad, and a sub sandwich, whether it's prepared or you get the party sub.
Party sub's weird.
Sub shop.
Yeah, I love the party sub. Get that big. I mean, you got the bread that's like a foot wide, and then they cut it into those squares, and oh man, it's awesome. I voted the sub sandwich myself. Rich, where did you vote?
I went with the sub sandwich as well. I'm just not a salad guy.
I mean, we only had one person vote for the sub sandwich, or for the salad. Everybody else voted for subs. 7-8. The new way that they do this, I can't see who voted for what. Yeah.
All right. It doesn't matter. 1-1.
Facebook.
7-1.
Your current path of doing this is not as good as it used to be, but that's okay.
That's all right. They've been changing the way we've had to do polls, since year 2 of this show?
Yeah.
They just don't, I'm getting the feeling that they don't want people to put polls.
But
the way they've been changing.
We're going to have them. All
right. So this week, we're going to go with chili versus gumbo.
Yeah, that's an exciting one there. Chili gumbo, man, that brings up lots of good debate. And it also depends on, I think that's going to be a geographical thing myself.
Hmm. It could be.
Uh,
I really do think it is.
so,
A lot of variations on both too that you can make it.
oh
That you
yeah.
can make to make those two regional to make those two things. So watch for that to go live shortly after we get off air today. So, Mike, more of a quick hit. The NBA, last week we gave you our 8 teams that
Yep.
we thought would make the playoffs
Yep.
because we everybody knows a divisional win doesn't mean as much in the NBA as it does in
Every
the
other sport.
in every other sport. So, Mike, we're just gonna skip because we really don't follow the NBA that much. If we're being honest with everybody, we don't. So we're just going to skip right to who's going to win the entire thing. So, Mike, who's going to your NBA Finals and who's going to win?
The Lakers and King LeBron are going to get LeBron one more ring, and they're going to beat the Nets.
Okay, I like it. I mean, I think even with or without Kyrie Irving, the Nets team is pretty good. So I think I could definitely see them making a run to the finals. I'm going to go Giannis Antetokounmpo getting back-to-back titles with the Bucks, and they're going to beat the Lakers.
Okay.
Mostly because I don't want to see LeBron James win.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm starting to come around to LeBron. Heard some great arguments this week about the greatest of all time debates, and some interesting facts about it.
Okay. Do you care to expand on that?
Yeah, we can. The person stated that LeBron James is the greatest of all time.
Okay.
His reasoning is because sports evolve and athletes continue to evolve and get better. So overall, the athletic ability of those that he is facing is greater than the athletic ability of those that people in the past faced.
Okay.
So his athletic ability to be the greatest of his time has to be higher than that of those in the past. I like the logic. I don't necessarily agree all the way, but I think there's something to be said there.
Okay. So is that gap between him and Michael Jordan starting to close at all for you?
I think LeBron is good. I think LeBron, but I still think Kobe was better than LeBron.
Okay.
So I think he's got to pass Kobe first, and he is getting close to passing Kobe. I will say that. But that gap between Kobe and Michael is huge. So.
Yeah. For me, what hurts LeBron is the whole team jumping thing.
Yep.
Going from leaving Cleveland because he couldn't get over the hump and get that team of an NBA Finals victory, going to Miami with the super team, leaving Miami to go back to Cleveland to right a wrong, and bring Cleveland to the championship, and then turning around and going to the Lakers.
Yep.
That's what ruins it for me. So
totally agree.
If he had stayed in Cleveland the entire time, like Kobe did with the Lakers, good or bad, he stayed there. Yeah. I might have a different opinion of LeBron, but it's the team hopping that kind of has that's my biggest pet peeve about LeBron.
Yeah, nope, totally get it. Okay. So that's where we're at. Let's head to the Diamond as we have some big news out of the Diamond to talk about. But first, let's give you some updates on the playoffs. The Red Sox and Astros, we now know who's going out of the American League, as the Astros have cheated their way. I mean, the Astros have made their way once again to the World Series. There is some controversy going on. I don't know if you've heard about it. Have you?
I have.
Apparently,
there's
some whistling going on.
Yeah. Whistling.
Very suspect whistling. We'll see if anything comes of it.
Yeah.
again, I don't mind if you're stealing signs. I mind if you're using technology to do so.
Yeah, there was once again kind of like the video evidence of, gee, you hear that whistling sound and bam, they hit a home run or they have a big hit that gets them the lead, and then the story that I read said that gee, suddenly the whistling stopped when they were up 6-0 on the Red Sox.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but there's something to be about it. But the Astros are heading to the World Series. In the National League, Rich, how are those teams doing? And what do you think's happening?
Well, the Braves are up 3-2. They get a chance to close out the Dodgers at home.
Yep.
Yeah, down in Atlanta, as Games 6 and 7 will be over the weekend down in the ATL.
Yeah.
So your World Series will be the Astros versus the winner of the Braves-Dodgers. And for the lunch bet, Mike, I will save you from having to root for the Astros or profit off of the Astros winning another World Series. I will take the Astros for the lunch bet.
Now, is that you just being nice, or is that you actually thinking the Astros are going to win?
I think the Astros could win. I think they could win.
I think they
but
could.
I also wouldn't mind seeing Dusty get the World Series ring, and there's also a lot of former Quad City River Bandits on that team. A lot of them.
Your logic is not flawed. I just can't go with it. But that's okay.
I know. And now you don't have to say, well, I get a lunch bet, or you don't have to be put in the position to say, nope, I conceded. I will buy you lunch rather than profit and get a lunch because the Astros won the World Series.
I will take the lunch. I would have taken the lunch if I would have had the Astros. I just would have cheered against it and cheered against my own interest. But
yeah, I mean, I would like to see somebody other than LA get to the World Series, so I'm hoping that Atlanta can close it out.
Yeah.
And get to the World Series. But the conspiracy theorist in me, when it comes to sports, thinks that they want the bigger market in LA to make the World Series, and then they're going to play this up as the 2017 rematch.
Yeah, this is a revenge match.
Yeah, of a revenge match.
Yep.
So it wouldn't surprise me to see either team. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see LA come out of nowhere and win those last two games.
Totally agree.
But they're gonna be facing an uphill challenge as Max Scherzer is not going to pitch as scheduled in game number 6. He could be in line to pitch game number 5, game number 7.
Yeah.
But supposedly he's having some arm problems. He had a dead arm, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the bigger concern for LA is the redhead.
Justin Turner.
Yeah, Justin.
Out for the series.
And because
the season, for that matter.
Yeah, he can't come back for the World Series. So he's done.
But the Dodgers have great depth.
Oh, I agree, but I think he has been a good chunk of the heart of that team for years.
Yep.
So,
totally agree.
Yeah, that's a hard one there. Okay, we have two other big news items away from the playoffs, off the field, if you will, to bring up about the major leagues. Rich, which one do you want to start with first?
I'll take the one that's probably going to have less discussion.
Okay.
And that is that the Major League Baseball has agreed to pay for housing for all minor league players starting in 2022.
I like that. I think that's a fair thing. Now, the scary thing is the housing going to be subpar housing, or are they going to make sure they're in decent homes?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, you've seen the neighborhoods down in downtown Davenport around that stadium. So,
and it depends. If you go west, it goes bad. Unless you go a little bit further west, and then it gets good again. But if you go right in the downtown, there's actually really decent apartments and stuff down there.
Yeah. Let's go with away from the river, going up from the ballpark, though.
Yeah, but
let's say that they.
But even if you're
build up,
if you're right in the downtown area, there's decent apartments down there.
Yeah.
But once you get out of the downtown area, once you get a little bit further west, it starts to get sketchy.
Yeah, that neighborhood in between Locust Street and River Drive.
Yeah.
That can be a little sketchy.
I mean,
so,
there's parts.
So I don't know if by major leaguers, if it's going to be kind of like a housing stipend of, we see that the median rent in this around within so many miles of the ballpark is this much. So here you go. Use it how you see fit.
Yep.
If you go over, you got to pay for the difference. But I mean, I kind of like it because listening to the Compound podcast, Ian Happ and Zach Short's podcast. I mean, they talk about when you get promoted from the majors to the minors or back and forth, they give you like housing for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To give you a chance to find housing, because after those 2 weeks, you're out of the team paid hotel room.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a good step in the right direction. I don't know if it could involve that they're just going to block off hotel rooms, or how it would work, because a lot of the kids are only in the area for 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Out of the year. So I don't know if you could have where the apartment buildings could come from, or maybe they'll buy or build up apartment buildings and just have them empty, to where maybe they're team-owned properties and they're empty for 6 months, for half the year, while the in-between seasons. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes through. I'm glad they're doing it. It's about time. I wonder where that's coming from. Is that going to be like the Dave Hellers of the Quad City River Bandits ownership? Is he going to have to pay for that, or is it like, is the MLB itself paying? Like, is it getting trickled down from? They're the Houston Astros currently, aren't they?
They're with the Royals.
Oh no, they're with the Royals. So is it going to trickle down from the Royals paying for it? Is it like? Again, I don't understand the whole minor league ownership stake thing going on there, because it's really weird, because you own it, but you're kind of an affiliate, so some of your stuff I don't know how that all works, but
I don't know either. So, or do they buy out more, or is it more dorm styles?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have a lot of colleges that have dorm rooms that sit vacant over the summer. So do you rent dorm space from a local college and put your players there?
That would be a great option. That really would be. So,
but school is also in session when your season starts too.
Yeah,
in April and May.
And if you have a longer season, it could be in session at the end of your season too.
Yeah.
So
more to come. It'll be interesting to see when it gets closer to the 2022 minor league season of how it all works out, where those housings are, where that housing could be if you keep everybody together, or if you spread them out amongst the community, or could it turn into providing housing is them giving, because like in the old days you had host families that would host, that like a person out in the community would host the player for the year. So maybe that's them paying money to a family that wants to house a player for the year too.
Yeah, I whatever they do, I'm sure it'll be. I mean, it's a step in the right direction for those guys. It'll be nice to see that they have stuff like that. Minor league salaries are not enough to really live off of, so getting that extra bit to have a place to stay is going to be great for them. So the big news for you and I, Rich.
Yep.
The end of the dumbest thing in Major League sports in general. It looks like Manfred and his team are looking to end the blackout. Kind of.
Exactly. I was... It's one of those things, I'll believe it when I see that as an option.
Yeah, that's the
purchase.
100% agree. The other thing is the way, so what they're proposing, this is the proposal, is that it's going to be a subscription to a team in your local market. So if you pay for the MLB At Bat TV, your local team is still blacked out.
Or teams.
Or teams, like here in Iowa, where so many of our teams have failed, or we don't get to watch, 6 teams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chicago, the 2 Chicago, Minnesota, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Kansas City, and Minnesota.
Yeah. So, 6 teams. We get blacked out of 6 teams, and yet, which is dumb. Pure dumbness here in Iowa. But if you wanted to, so the proposal is it would be like a $10 a month, and this is, again, just speculation at this point until they get something worked out. The speculation would be a $10 a month subscription that would allow you to watch whatever you want, or watch one team. So if you want to watch the Cubs, you can pay $10 and watch every Cubs game throughout the year. Now, if you buy the MLB At Bat TV, you're still blacked out, so then you have to pay an additional $10 if you're one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
It would be through the MLB TV subscription still, though, kind of, from what I understand. But, Rich, $10 a month, worth it? Not worth it.
With my current schedule, with the Cubs playing a lot of day games, and the current hours that I work, I think it'd still be worth it.
I agree.
If you could guarantee, if it works. Now, if they want to say, well, just like with the streaming NFL games through the Yahoo Sports app, well, you can't do it over Wi-Fi. You got to do it over your data package instead. But even when the Cubs went to their own regional cable network, that was one thing I'm surprised that Marquee didn't roll out, of saying, all right,
they're not allowed to. They
weren't allowed to.
They're not allowed to as a streaming service unless this type of deal happens. They would still have to black out those games as a streaming service. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
So if it's
that's just almost one thing I was expecting, with so many people cutting the cord and the network having so many problems getting cable carriers to carry their network. Because all right, we'll just create an app, and
if you have a Roku, they have an app.
Marquee has an app.
Has an app on Roku. I just am trying to. Hey, by the way, if we have any fans watching that has that package that is not on Mediacom, hit me up. If you're going to continue to pay for that package, let me know. I'm trying to find somebody that will allow me to use their sign-in so that I can then log in and watch the Marquee Network on my TV. Because you can do that. If you have the subscription-based blah, 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 you can still stream it on your TV.
But you got to have a cable. You got to have a cable subscription.
A cable or satellite dish or whatever. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a great article. I was glad to see that could be happening. And at the same time, it's going to have to be a wait and see for me.
And it looks like it's coming from the commissioner's office. Like, it's legit a conversation happening in the commissioner's office. It's not just we might do this, or this is what we think should happen. It was something coming out of MLB itself. That's the thing that excites me. I agree. Don't trust it until it happens. But the fact that it's statements being made by people inside the commissioner's office.
Okay. The other thing about it, I thought $10 seemed kind of low for that type of subscription. So how high? I guess what would you as a single single one user be willing to pay? Not splitting the subscription with me or another family member or another friend. How much would you be willing to pay for that subscription fee if it's offered?
Again, it might change because of I'm contemplating cutting the cord on some other things, some other subscriptions that I don't necessarily need as much. But I think $20 would probably be my max. I don't know that I would probably have to have a good solid discussion and may even have to make a little bit more money than I'm making right now.
Or decide if you're going to take on that $20 subscription, what subscription services it's going to replace.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's fair because it sounds like in the article you only get the game only. You probably wouldn't get pregame, you wouldn't get postgame.
But again, I think,
of course, you wouldn't get any of the other content that's on that team's cable network.
I think that's only if. I think that's based on if it's through the MLB at bat program. If it ends up being through, like, they say, okay, teams that have their local ones can sell a subscription to itself, like the Marquee Network.
Uh-huh.
I would guess that the Marquee Network would probably. I would guess they'd probably put up, if the Marquee Network was allowed to make that offer to have streaming only, that they would put you could stream their whole live blah blah blah.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
I think $20 would be a fair amount, especially if you get that channel's entire library of content.
Yeah.
Through their app. So, but once again, it's gonna have to be. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, I totally agree. It's encouraging news.
Yeah.
To us here in Iowa, and as well as to cord cutters that don't want to pay for a Dish Network package where you don't even watch 3/4 of the channels, but you got to have them all. You got to buy a package instead of individually making your own package of channels.
Yep. Okay.
So Mike, encouraging news, but Mike, what's coming up next?
I think it's a left turn. Rich, what's coming up after that?
It's probably another left turn.
Because we're heading into the NASCAR Corner, presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs. That's Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, and online at eBay. So, heading into the NASCAR Corner, last week we will give you the shout-outs. Last week's shout-outs, we were at Texas Motor Speedway. Solomon Stroop, Team Dupo 24, won with 254 points. Rich, you came in second with 192. I came in third with 181. And Tony came in fourth with 165. These numbers are actually quite close compared to what we've seen previously in the season. I believe with that, Solomon does, however, take a fairly commanding lead. I think this might be insurmountable for the playoffs, because he is up 14-12 to 12-88 over me, and you are behind me at 12-63, and Tony is behind you at 208. So the three of us are quite tight for the playoffs, and then overall, Rich, you are still 200 points above Solomon, but I mean, if he keeps this up, he might be able to catch you by the end of the year and get a very special shout out at the end of the year, being the champion of our fantasy league for NASCAR.
Okay.
So Rich, give us a rundown of how who won and how our guys did.
All right, so it was the Auto Trader Ecto Park 400 down in Dallas. Your race winner, Kyle Larson. As far as our picks, the playoff drivers that we picked were Ryan Blaney, who finished 6th. Your pickup, Martin Truex Jr., finished 25th. And on the non-playoff side, my pick of Tyler Reddick came in 9th. Mike, your pick of Alex Bowman came in 33rd.
Yeah.
Making it 9-6 me for the playoffs and for the season. I have a 3-point lead, 24-21. As far as with the NASCAR playoffs, Kyle Larson is moving on to the championship 4, pending the results of Dallas, of Kansas, and Martinsville. The 3 drivers joining him would be Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch, putting Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., my pick to win the entire thing, and Joey Logano below the cut line.
Okay.
With 2 races to go.
Okay, so this week we are heading to the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas Motor Speedway. By the way, Rich, this is a race I think one of these days you and I are going to have to go to.
I agree. Kansas City's not that far of a drive.
No.
For either of us, really.
Nope. And it would be, we could get some good barbecue.
Yeah.
I could make some good barbecue.
You could.
Anyway, so Rich, you have the honors. Who do you pick? And for your let's do playoff drivers first, and then we'll give the folks our non-playoff drivers. Who you got for your playoff driver, Rich?
I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr. He needs the win to go from 7th into the playoffs, and he does really well at Kansas. So
yep, I like that pick.
I'm going with Truex.
I am picking the fella who has been doing great all year and is really good at the mile-and-a-half racetracks. Kansas is mile-and-a-half, not necessarily shaped the exact same way, but look out for Chase Elliott.
I like Chase Elliott, too. He's going to be in my fantasy lineup this week.
Okay. Who are you picking for your non-playoff driver?
I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick. He seems to be a top 10 machine out in Kansas, so I can't. So that's who I'm going to go with.
I am going to pick a Busch brother, and the only Busch brother. Oh wait, is Kyle out of the playoffs?
No, Kyle's above the cut line right now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick the only Busch brother not above the cut line in the playoffs, and I'm going to go with Kurt Busch.
All right, you can catch that race over on NBC at around 1 o'clock, so it'll be going up against the football games leading into Sunday Night Football. Which, Mike, that takes us into the NFL.
But that has been the NASCAR Corner, presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, or anywhere on their eBay store. Check them out. Okay, let's go to the NFL. This week's weekly pick'em. Rich, you had honors. You got 10 points. That is, or 10 points this week, which is 1 point better than either J.R. Nichols at Midget Nation or me at Mikey Rocks. That has you with an overall lead of 1 point. 1 point heading into this week. Or no, 2 points. You had 2 points heading into this week. You currently sit at 1 point as I picked Thursday night's game and you did not. So
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. D's picks and Dupo. Yeah, you guys still haven't done any picks. Solomon getting his NASCAR picks in, but not getting his football picks in. Either that or he's just picking terribly. I've looked. He hasn't picked a game yet. So, Solomon, get on that. Okay. Yeah. Rich, let's do a recap this week. Week 6, the Bears-Packers. The first quarter looked pretty decent for the Bears. And then
I would say the second quarter looked decent.
Yeah.
They were keeping Aaron Rodgers in check, but eventually the defense broke, and Aaron Rodgers and the Packers won 24-14. What do you think of Aaron Rodgers' comment as on a hot mic as he ran in for the touchdown, yelling, "I still own you"?
Apparently, he blacked out. He's drinking so much on the sidelines that he blacked out.
Okay.
I don't know. Has he owned it? Yeah, he's kicked our butt. But
he ain't lying.
But
okay.
Is that necessarily what you say in the middle of a game? No. Okay. And rule number 1, never engage the fans. Isn't that kind of the rule? Like, how does what's the NBA star that has been having trouble the last few years because the fans just have rallied on him, and he's let them know that gets to him. And I'm not saying these guys have to be perfect, but as soon as the fans know, as soon as the fans smell blood in the water, guess what? They get to own you now because they occupy a part of your brain that you can't get them out of.
All right. All right, so that takes the Bears record to 3-3.
Yep.
Mike, I'm 5-1 picking the Bears games. You are 4-2.
Yeah.
So we'll get you our pick for the Week 7 matchup against the Buccaneers later on. Later on in the show, the lock of the week. Mike, my lock of the week of the Rams over the Giants came through as the Rams won 38-11.
Yep.
And your pick of the Cowboys over the Patriots went to overtime, but a win's a win, as Cowboys won 35-29. I'm 6-0 on the upset on the blocks. You're 5-1. How are our upset specials?
Upset specials of the week. Rich, your upset of the Jaguars over the Dolphins came through 23-20. My upset of the week, the Vikings over the Panthers. Vikings win 34-28 again in overtime. We are both sitting at 3-3 for our upsets. How you feel about that so far?
I feel okay about it. I mean, it's always tough picking an upset because sometimes there aren't a lot of upsets on the docket.
Yeah.
So you got to pick you got to pick matchups that may not come through.
And both of us at times like to pick upsets that are we don't like the close upsets.
We don't like the 30. We sometimes won't pick an upset if it's an even matchup.
Yep.
That we would consider more even, or if it's a 60-40 split.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that 60-40 range.
Yeah. Again, I picked the Vikings last week, which is a little bit of a I didn't think the Vikings should have been considered a underdog in that game, but the way that it came through, and sometimes you're forced to pick those, but we try to give you a little bit more of heft on it, make it a bigger upset than what it really is. This last week's Thursday night football game, Broncos-Browns. Them Browns came through. Rich, despite changing it on your pick'em at the last minute, last week you picked the Browns, I picked the Browns. You are still perfect for Thursday night football. And this week, and I have one game that I have lost. This week, we'll give you our picks on that in just a second. But first, let's get in any week 6 discussions you think need to be made.
I don't think so. I mean, my biggest reason for switching to the Broncos on our Yahoo Pick'em is I had maybe too much time on my hands on Thursday, being home alone watching TV by myself. So I had it on the NFL Network watching the pregame show.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of talk about the Browns that wouldn't be playing in the games and the Bronco defense. So that's what led me to change it on the Yahoo app. And it was still a good, close game. So, good, close game. So that's why I chose to change on the Yahoo upset. But on the air, it was the Browns. So that's why it sticks as a pick for the Browns.
Yeah. I mean, the Dolphins losing, and Urban Meyer getting to keep his job at least for one more week. That's a kind of a big deal, isn't it?
Maybe in your eyes, I just don't see him losing his job mid-season. I don't think the ownership would want to go through. I don't know if the ownership would want to admit a mistake.
I think
I could see Urban Meyer resigning, saying that this is just too much pressure. It's more challenging than I thought. I'm not the right man for the job.
I think
I'm going to resign.
Bigger argument there is that when all that controversy of him groping that girl at the bar when that came out and he didn't lose his job, I think if he doesn't lose his job for that, he's not going to lose his job for anything. So I kind of am with you on that now. I think if he would have lost this week, it would have made it a much better argument for him actually losing his job. But
yeah, I mean, if anything, the Gruden backlash to come out really saved him, because that that shifted the focus away from him
Yep.
and what happened to him in between the Thursday night game, and the upcoming week.
Yeah.
That took that out of the media spotlight and gave the media something else to talk about.
Yep.
So that saved him.
Okay.
All right, Mike, week 7, it's an odd week, Mike. So you have the honors of picking the matchups.
Yep.
Which we've already done off air, but you'll give your picks first. So the Bears go down to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. Who are you picking?
He may think it's 4th down, but he's still going to come out a win. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
All right, I'm going with the Buccaneers as well. I'm hoping for a close game. But Gronk or no Gronk, and I think they're without Antonio Brown too.
Yep.
There's just
But
too much talent on the Bucs, so they're not going to go down.
Yeah.
If I can get a win.
Okay, lock of the week. This week I picked the Cardinals over the Texans. That Cardinals team's on a roll, and that Texas team doesn't want to win. Or that Houston team doesn't want to win. Rich, who you got?
First, I like that pick as a lock. There's also there's a revenge factor.
Oh yeah.
As you got DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt coming back into town.
Yep.
My lock of the week, I'm going to go with the Packers over the Washington football team.
Yeah, I like that pick. That was my that probably would have been my second pick if I picked another one. But my upset of the week, I'm going with Moon over Miami over Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
I think that the Falcons aren't a good team.
Neither are the Dolphins.
Yeah, but I think this is a good chance for the Dolphins to make a win.
Okay. Yeah. Neither team's playing defense.
It's also a home game for Miami.
Okay.
Yet they still had to travel this week, as they had to travel back from England.
Yeah, I was surprised not to see them get a bye week.
Yeah.
Coming back from England, I thought that's normally how it works.
But they did get 2 weeks. Game. They did get 2 weeks in England, didn't they?
No.
Oh.
They didn't have a bye week before the England game either.
Okay.
Their bye week isn't until like week 14 or something.
Either way. So, Rich, who you got?
I'm also gonna go way out there, and I'm gonna go with the Bengals over the Ravens.
The Bengals are not a bad team, though.
They're not, but they're playing a hot Ravens team.
Yeah, but yours, I like yours a little bit better than mine. I'm going out on a limb. I know I am, but I like yours because I think that the Bengals are a good team. I think they actually qualify to be considered a good team, not just a good enough team, but a good team. So I really do like that pick.
Okay, I mean the other matchups that I was thinking about. Titans over the Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
The Titans are starting to look good. Things are starting to come together, and the Chiefs seem to be turning over the ball a lot.
Yeah. So this week's Thursday night game, we have the Packers going out to Arizona to play the Cardinals. Rich, what do you think?
I'm gonna take the Cardinals.
I don't think so this week.
Okay.
I think this is where the Cardinals get their loss.
All right. We'll see. We disagree for only the second time on Thursday Night Football.
Yep. So
right, Mike,
we either end up tied for Thursday night, or we end up,
or I stay undefeated.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Mike, you ready to go over the power rankings?
Yeah. So this week's power rankings, man, oh man, how the mighty have fallen.
Okay.
I would say, wait till we get there, but where do you want to start? Who do you got number one? I think everybody agrees who number one is.
I went with the Cardinals at number one.
Yep. Number two?
Number two, I went with the Rams.
Yeah, that Rams team is hot, hot, hot. Look out for them. And then number three, who do you got?
I went with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ooh, that's a good pick. I went with the Kansas City Chiefs at number three.
Whoa.
Or not? I'm sorry. The Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Green Bay Packers at number 3. Nope.
Who's in the top 3 for the ELO and the power rankings, Mike?
So the ELO has Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Buffalo Bills, and the Ravens.
Okay.
As
That's
1, 2,
fair.
and 3. The
fair.
power rankings actually end up with Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 1, Arizona Cardinals at number 2, Los Angeles Rams at number 3.
So not that far off from,
Nope.
from where we have them.
Nope.
So, Mike, who do you have in the number 4 spot?
Number 4 is where I put your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I went with the Red Hot Ravens.
Okay.
At number 4.
Okay. I don't mind that pick at all. Number 5, Rich, you ready for the shocker of your life?
All right. You seem to have a
Brace-
big shocker.
Brace
So
yourself for your number 5. Who you
My
got
number 5, Go Pack Go, the Green Bay Packers.
That's a pretty good one there. The Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, that's really high for you, Mike.
That team really impressive this year so far. Look for them to continue this hot streak they're on. I think they are a great team. They are in the top 5, which puts them in the top tier of teams.
Okay. I have the Cowboys down a little bit lower, but they could be working their way up based on how some of these matchups go this week, I think.
Yeah, number 6, I got the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, so we weren't that far off on the Ravens. This is where I put the Bills.
Okay, I don't mind that.
It was a close loss, and I mean, if anything, their losses are to pretty good teams. I mean, the Steelers aren't the Steelers this year, but they're still. I think they're still a good team.
I think
and of course, the Titans. Maybe if a fourth down call, if Josh Allen gets the sneak and gets another 4 downs, maybe they don't lose that game on Monday. Maybe they don't lose Monday night's game.
Yeah, I can understand it. I'm not going to say I agree with it, but the next spot down is where I have them at number 7. I like the Bills. I think they're a good team. I just think you got to do something. You got to be better than what you've shown so far. I would argue that the Pittsburgh Steelers are a sneaky bad team.
Okay.
Sneaky bad, I would say about the Steelers.
Who did you put at 6?
6 is where I put the Baltimore Ravens. I said that
Okay,
before you said
Okay,
yours.
I got you.
Which
All right,
is
so we're down to 8. So,
well, who did you put at 7?
7, I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. Number 8.
Who are teams 4, 5, and 6 for the ELO and power rankings?
So number 4 is for the power rankings is the Baltimore Ravens. Number 5 is the Buffalo Bills, and number 6 is the Dallas Cowboys. That's the power rankings. The ELO has number 4 as the Arizona Cardinals, number 5 as the LA Rams, and number 6 is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they got that one wrong.
Okay, so while you've got that up, why don't we give the ELO and the power rankings for 8, 9, and 10 before we give our picks?
Okay, number 8 for the ELO is the Green Bay Packers. Number 9, they're sitting with the Los Angeles Superchargers. And number 10, the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
Now, the ELO gives a lot of history to franchise memory, organizational memory. So when your team is a great team for a long time, that really boosts your numbers, which, again, the Saints have been a really great team for a long time. That's why their numbers are high, and it's going to take a while for them to come back down to earth. That's why you see some of these teams that have been really good the past 3 or 4 years with numbers that appear a lot higher. So, Rich, number 8, number 8 for the power rankings is the Los Angeles Superchargers. Number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs, and number 10, the Tennessee Titans. Rich, who do you have at number 8?
That's where I put the Bolts.
Ooh, okay. Okay. My number 8 is actually the Tennessee Titans.
Okay. My number 9, that's where I went with the Chiefs.
Okay, number 9 for me is the Los Angeles Superchargers.
All right. And Mike, rounding out your top 10, who made it?
Okay, so this is based off play. I wholeheartedly expect this team to drop off and be in the bottom 10 in the next 3 weeks.
The bottom 10.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, who's the team?
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Ooh, okay.
Now, here's why. Without John Gruden being there, their focus and their drive is going to drop a bit. Without, yes, they have an interim head coach, but interim head coach means it's not my team to really run. I kind of get to run them for now, but
I'm probably not gonna be here next year.
Yeah. And so that I wholeheartedly expect this team to start losing, and as they lose and as their losses look worse and worse, I wholeheartedly expect in the next 3 to 4 weeks, this team will be below 22.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm just putting it out there. Okay.
All right. So my number 10, I went with the Bengals.
Okay, not a bad pick. So, the biggest difference that I see in general, and I'm not scouring looking for it all that much, but I have the Kansas City Chiefs dropped all the way down to 13th this week.
Okay.
Their losses they've not looked good. It looks like the league is finding ways to beat them. And in a copycat league, as soon as one person figures something out, seems like within a week or two, every other team can do it. So,
and that's fair. I think they had a good rebound game against Washington. We'll
Yep.
see what happens when they face a better team in Tennessee.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, so it seems like they can they're winning the games they need to win. But on the flip side, when they're facing another team that's in line to make the playoffs, they're not getting that win.
and that's why this week's game against the Titans is going to be tough for them. So look out for that one, folks. Rich, any other big glaring differences that you want to, like? That's the one that I brought up because again, it's a team that I think is a great team.
They should be better.
They should be a lot better. I think they should be a top 5 team. I'm just going off of my eye test as I watched them play the last few weeks. I can't put them above 13.
Okay, I think that's really our only big gap. Most of our gaps are only like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Or like 2 or 3 ranking points differently. So let's go ahead and give the folks the teams that you had in your top 10 that I had below mine. I put the Titans at 11. You put them at 10, I think?
I had them at 8. I had the Titans at 8.
8, yeah. I have the Raiders down at 12.
Yep.
Which, once again, they could be going lower. And
the only ones the Chiefs are the big one for me that I don't have in my top 10 that you do. And then the Bengals, which we're one spot off. I have them at 11.
We're not that far off on the Titans or the Raiders.
Yeah.
We're not that far off on the Browns. I put them at 13. You put them at 12.
Yeah.
And
the Steelers, you always ranked them a lot lower, yet you still have them.
I'm at 16 with the Steelers right now.
Yeah, that's a pretty. I think they're a sneaky bad team. Let me explain to you what I mean by sneaky bad team.
Okay. Go ahead.
They're a team that looks like they should be good, but really, their wins aren't against great teams, and their losses are against decent teams. They don't look like a great team. Their best win is against who was it that you
Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills. That's their best win. Okay. I don't see that as a great team. I don't see I will be surprised if the Steelers make the playoffs at this point.
No, I don't think they're going to make it. I know they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Where do you have the Bears ranked?
The Bears?
Obviously, they didn't make the top 15.
Correct.
So where did you put the Bears?
I have them at 17.
I put them at 19.
Okay.
So not that far off.
So I also had them above the Vikings, which I see you do not.
I don't. I put the Vikings at 17.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
All right, Mike. Let's go with the bottom 5.
Okay.
Team number 32 for you, Mike.
The team that has a decent chance of going 0-17, being the first team ever to do so. The Detroit Lions.
I put the Lions here as well. If I'm going to use the logic that the Cardinals need to be the number 1 team, regardless of who they beat every week, because they're undefeated, I gotta apply the same logic on the 0-6 side. So that's why I put the Lions as well.
Yep. Number 31, I got a team that I'm surprised got a win last week, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I put the Jaguars there as well.
Okay. Rich, who do you got at 30?
I put the New York Football Giants there, Mike.
I put a team from New York, but not the Giants. I have the Jets.
All right. I mean, I put the Giants there because when they've lost bad.
Yep.
So that's why I had to put them there.
Yep.
Number 29, I went with the Houston Texans, a team that just doesn't seem to want to win.
We're back at agreement. 100% agree.
All right. 28, that's where I put the Giants, the Jets.
Okay, 28, I have the New York Football Giants.
All right, so we're not that far off, just a different order. And who is, to wrap up, who's at number 27?
I mean, the team that the Jaguars beat, the Miami Dolphins.
Yep, that's where I went with the Dolphins as well.
By the way, I have the Falcons just one spot above that. Hence why I think the Dolphins could actually beat the Falcons.
Me too. That's where I went with the Falcons as well. We keep going up. So who do you have at number 25? And then we'll
Ooh,
go over to our quick hit.
This is going to hurt some friends of the show.
Okay.
San Francisco 49ers.
Huh. Okay.
They have not proven themselves to me at all this year.
All right. I went with the Eagles.
Okay. I can buy that. I think the Eagles, I actually I have the Eagles ranked above the Patriots.
Okay.
I have them at 22. The Patriots at 23, and then the Washington football team at 24.
Yeah, I did the Washington football team at 24. The Seahawks is who I went with at 23. I put the Niners at 20. Says I put them at 22.
Okay. I'm surprised that you have the Patriots ranked as high as you do. You're giving them the Bill Belichick effect.
You
have them.
One of those things where it's hard. I try to look at it and try and group the teams that have a similar record together.
Yep.
All right. So which ones have had better wins? Which ones have had better losses? Or trying to look at how they won their games to try and rank them. So it's really hard for me to almost do teams 20 through 25 because they're all evenly bad. They're not good, but they're not.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're really struggling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, we have some quick hits for you. Real quick, Adam Schefter is in some hot, some trouble as one of the emails leaked this week was about him releasing a story to a source in the Washington football team and asking for anything he needs to change in it. Also referring to said person as Mr. Editor. Kind of hurts his credibility according to a lot in the fandom of football, but I would say he's just checking with us. Honestly, for me, it's more him just checking with the source. Do I have the facts correct according to what you understand them to be? Not necessarily giving them carte blanche editing rights.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong. A source is a source.
Yep.
So, I mean, whether that source is really high up in that organization, or whether they're a low-level staffer that only people in the industry know who he is, it's still a source.
Yep.
So why not go into the why not go to him and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing, or this is how I'm understanding it. Is this true or false? Is this
Now,
worth reporting?
he did send the entire article that he had written to said person. So I can understand why there's backlash. I get it, but okay.
I mean, why not? I mean, if anything, it gives that. It's giving. I mean, if your article is going to be proving something or revealing something about the organization that maybe he didn't want put out there as a big media, with as big of a media footprint as ESPN has. I mean,
yeah.
Why not come back and say, all right, this is what I'm going to put out. This is what I'm going to hit send on. At this time to meet my deadline. Is this accurate, or do you want to make any edits so it doesn't make you look as bad?
Yep.
I don't have any problem with it. John Gruden has said more about the emails that were leaked, saying the truth will come out.
Yeah. How much do you think he's going to make out off of this? Because he's still owed what, 40,000 or 40 million, or is it 60 million?
It's still a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
He's got to. There's no way that he loses out on that contract because he chose to resign.
Yep.
Slash,
He's going to make
resign instead of getting fired.
Yep. Okay. Rich, give us the next hit.
Okay. The NFL is supposedly looking at playing games in Germany.
Yeah.
In addition to their games in London, I like it. It really seemed like when the NFL Europe was a thing, that Germany got a lot. The attendance in Germany did really well. They have not announced what city they will play in. I'm trying to find it in the article what cities they're targeting. I swear it was in there. But I guess they could also be looking at the Nordic countries.
Ooh.
Of staging a game in the Nordics as well. I believe it's like Frankfurt. I don't know. More to come on this as the bidding process will, I guess, begin in June. But, I mean, I think if the NFL is going to stage like a 17-game schedule with the potential to maybe even go to 18 games down the road, I mean, why not have every team within the course of their 17 or 8 game schedule have a neutral site or international game outside of their home market?
Yeah. I think the Mexico City one would be good to have back, but I don't know that that's ever going to happen. And Canada, maybe.
Yeah, I could see Canada. Why not take it down to Australia for a game down there as well?
That one, I think that one's a little more tough, as that's like a 13-hour flight from Los Angeles, even. Whereas going to London from anywhere on the East Coast is only 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, we can say that this is very similar to flying from Tampa to Seattle or vice versa. It's about the same as if you were to go from Tampa to London or even Frankfurt or wherever, versus Australia. That one won't happen. I will put on record that one will not happen.
Okay. To me, it makes sense to go Australia. You have cricket fields and Australian football fields that could easily be, or rugby fields.
I mean, footy fields are just cricket pitches that.
That they converted.
Well, they're designed in the same way. It's actually, the game is designed around using a cricket pitch to use, and then it's an oblong shape, and it's a circular field. The only thing you have to do is put up your goalposts on either end, and that's it. And it's basically the exact same field as a cricket field. So, cricket grounds. Sorry, cricket grounds. So,
Right.
I'm not sure on that one how I feel, but yeah, I get it. Dusseldorf, Frankfurt, and Munich, by the way.
Okay. Those make sense. Pretty popular. I'm surprised Berlin wasn't one of them, but
Yeah.
Munich and Frankfurt don't surprise me one bit.
So,
The Chicago Sky win the WNBA title.
Yep.
And supposedly Candace Parker, the superstar on the team, said at their victory celebration, "Look to your left, look to your right, and remember where you're sitting, because we hope to be right back here next year."
let's bring it. Let's go Sky. Okay, and then finally, spoiler alert. If you do not want to hear spoilers about The Masked Singer, you should turn us off right now. If you want to listen to us, check us out on your podcast places. If you want to watch us, check us out on Facebook. If you want to, or YouTube. But if you don't want to hear about The Masked Singer and the spoilers that Rich and I are about to give you, you need to turn it off now. Your final chance. We will give you 3, 2, 1. Okay, we've given you the spoiler alert. We've talked about it enough. Time to go into Masked Singer territory. Rich, this week we got another wild card that was based on a wild card. We got the Joker. By the way, folks, now you finally understand why some people call me the Space Cowboy is the title of this week's episode. The Joker made his appearance on Masked Singer this week. How do you think he did, Rich?
I thought he was the weakest performance of the night.
Yep.
And if the Masked Singer if that's the way they had the voting done,
Oh, yeah.
of telling the people, all right, who do you think had the weakest performance tonight, or who would you like to see sent home tonight?
Yep.
Based on all of their performances, or even saying, all right, who doesn't deserve to continue on in the competition? The Joker probably would have been the pick.
But that's not who got picked.
No.
And in fact, the person that got picked really surprised me, A, who they were, and B, the fact that they got sent home.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that these guys, I think the person that got picked has done a good job. A good job. I don't think they were winning caliber voice. They were not.
They never had the worst performance.
They
also never had the best performance.
I totally agree.
On any given night. But
They
they held their own.
And this week, he sang in Spanish.
Yeah.
The
Spanish love song.
A Spanish love song to his Mexican wife
And daughters.
and daughters. So folks,
Rob Snyder, who was the hamster,
yeah,
is no longer in the competition.
yeah, that was sad to see, but not
Were you
surprised.
It was Rob Snyder.
I really was.
The clues and when Sersner and Leslie Jordan were saying that's fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, I knew for sure that was wrong because Gabriel Iglesias isn't married.
That's accurate. And I think he's significantly taller than what the hamster was.
Yeah, I was almost thinking it was Adam Sandler with the Saturday Night clues and saying that he likes to do projects with his friends. So
Yep.
That's who I was expecting it was.
Yep,
He's also
totally agree.
He's also married to a Latino as well.
So, with that being said, who had your favorite performance of the night?
Man, my favorite performance of the night. I'm trying to think who it was. I don't remember. It wasn't the hamster, and it definitely wasn't the Joker. So, I liked the bull. I really liked the bull's number.
That was 100% my answer too. He slayed it. Made a good argument for him making it all the way this year. So
still, nobody's using the buzzer.
Nope.
And they're not even highlighting it on the show.
Yeah, I'm very surprised about that. So, okay, folks,
that does it for this week's episode.
If you are still listening to our show and you like the Masked Singer as much as Mike and I do, remember it's going to be on a special night this week to accommodate the World Series starting this week, Monday night.
Okay.
Monday night episode this week.
Okay. Folks, if you are watching us on YouTube and or Facebook and you want to take us in the car and listen to us while you drive around town, Rich, where should they check us out?
You can find our podcast wherever you find all of your other podcasts.
Yep.
Spotify, Google, Anchor.fm, and Apple Podcasts.
Yep. If you are listening to us on any of those platforms and you would like to see what our pretty faces look like, check us out on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube and or Facebook and you want to get a comment shout out or a thumbs up shout out, which we have 2 of before we leave, we have 2 of them. Check us out on Facebook.com/ballsandsticks on Saturday mornings at about 10:30 in the morning. That's when we generally do this. We don't guarantee it. We try to let you know if we're not going to. I don't foresee a reason why next week we won't. And then finally, we have our shout-outs of the week. We have 2 thumbs up shout-outs.
Okay.
Both good friends of the show. Number 1 being on our actual Facebook.com/ballsandsticks. Eli Kincaid liked our video for this week. Gave us a good thumbs up already today. And then on the fans page, Solomon Stroop gave us a thumbs up on that side. Solomon, if you were listening, maybe you should work on getting your Yahoo Fantasy or your Yahoo Tournament your Yahoo Pro Pick'em picked so that you can continue to maybe make up some ground.
Yeah. Put some points on the board, Solomon. Hopefully he was listening when we were talking about the NFL picks.
Yeah, and if you do it, you got a good chance of beating these picks. Rich, it's time to roll the outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.